Now let's try to do the Leibniz rule, and this Leibniz rule is very, very important in the entire LCD chapter. So what this rule talks about is it gives us basically the idea how to differentiate if you have any integral, right? For example, you have a function f of x equals, you have the limits which are variable gx to, let us say, hx, f of, or you can say this is, let us say, some other function phi of t dt. So we don't have to worry about what is the integral and how to integrate that. No, we have been given that this is a function where this is f of t dt, it is being integrated with respect to t, and the limits are variable, that is some function of x, gx to hx. And in a way, suppose we have to find out f dash x in some cases. So Leibniz rule tells us about how we can find out the f dash x. So f dash x is equal to, we'll also try to see how this is derived. F dash x is equal to, you remember this in this manner itself. So we have to differentiate the upper limit h dash x, substitute the upper limit in this function. It is phi of h of x.
It's phi constant.
Yeah, it is not constant, it is function of t. F is, for example, f of x, similarly phi of t. Now we have done h dash x and phi of hx minus. Now similarly we'll have the derivative of the lower limit into, you will substitute this in the function, that is phi of gx. So this is the derivative of the integral, and this will be used in the limits also, because limit also can contain this kind of integral where you'll have to apply the L'Hopital rule and differentiate. So all these things will be taken care of by this, right? Now you can easily prove this by having the integral, because once you know little basics of the integration, you will be able to derive this formula. Let's try to do the derivation, because the integration that is required is not, that is required is a basic integration. So we can assume that, okay, fine, we are given this, that integral of this fx is given that this is this, or let us say we assume the integral of this is some capital F of t, right? Not including the constant and all those things. So this is the integral actually, right? Now, since this is the integral of this function, we can write down fx. So let us say this, because we know how to apply limits. So from 1 and 2, we can say f of x is equal to f of hx, right? And we can say minus capital F of gx. This is the basic integration, that once you apply the limit, you have the integral, and then you apply the limits from hx to gx. So upper limit minus lower limit. Now we differentiate f dash x. We can apply the chain rule. We'll have f dash of hx into h dash x minus f dash of gx into g dash x. Now this capital F dash, because this is the integration of this, right? Integration of this function. So capital F dash will be nothing but, you can say, you can look up at this and then you can try to see what is capital F dash. We can easily write down this f of x in place of capital F dash. So just try to think. This is phi. That is, we can replace this with phi function, because if you have integral of phi is fx, so derivative of so integral of phi is, look here, integral of phi is capital F of t, so derivative of this capital F will be phi. right? So basically what we want to say is derivative of this capital F of x will be equal to phi of x, because integral of this is capital F of t. So we can write down this f dash x equals, the capital F dash will be replaced by phi.
Only thing is that I don't understand how can I just let h of x, like, I mean definite. There's
Okay, fine. So we can move with this.
mm-hmm.
Phi. So this becomes phi. So phi of hx into h dash x, जो कि पहले था यहाँ पे, and minus again phi of gx into g dash x, because capital F dash x equal to phi x, you can replace x with h of x क्योंकि यहाँ पे h of x चाहिए, and you can replace with g of x क्योंकि यहाँ पे g of x चाहिए. So this is the same formula. So in the beginning that we saw that how we have to remember this, that was important. You just have to differentiate upper limit into, substitute that upper limit in the function, minus differentiate the lower limit, substitute the lower limit in the function. Try to remember in this manner. This is simple application of the Leibniz rule. This is a to x plus h. This is a to x. And a is what? As in a is a.
As in the,
So this is the question only, right? So you have to evaluate this. That's it. We have sine square x, right? So but this is sin x into sin x. This is ln square t, which is ln t into ln t. See, the problem where you will face is that will be resolved by the Leibniz rule. In fact, if you try to see this and observe this, that you will be having h tends to 0. So when h tends to 0, the numerator itself becomes 0, right? And the denominator becomes 0. So we can apply the L'Hopital rule, right? So once you apply the L'Hopital rule, and this is the integration, so you'll have to use the Leibniz rule. So this is the role of Leibniz rule in this. That's it. So differentiate. So we know how to differentiate. Differentiating the upper limit. So derivative of x plus h. Differentiating with respect to h, not x. Understand this. So here the thing will be differentiating with respect to h. So this will be, limit is in h tends to 0, not x tends to 0. So the variable is h here, not x. So you'll have to differentiate with respect to h, not x. So this we have seen in the limits, the questions that we have done. So now once we differentiate, so the derivative will be 1. Then ln square, you will be having x plus h minus, this will be 0. Divide by 1, right? So when you do this, this will be nothing but ln square x. Understand this thing, that where to, when you're differentiating, so in what terms you will have to differentiate the function, right? This is important. So a similar question is limit x tends to 0, you have 0 to x square sec square t dt divided by x sin x. Find out the limit. So again, this is 0 by 0 form, right? So it is 0 by 0 form when you put limit x tends to 0. So we'll differentiate and we'll make use of the Leibniz rule. So this is the x square, derivative of the upper limit 2x. Substitute the upper limit in the function, minus derivative of constant is 0. So no need to write down anything here. Now here, what you can write down is
cos x plus sin x.
product rule. Yes, sin x and then x cos x, right? You can what you can do, you can divide now by this x. So this x you can divide, and this is sin x by x, and this x. Now this is not indeterminate form, so you substitute this. So there will be sec square of 0, which is 1, and this is 2 here, 2 by 1 plus 1. So it should be x by x, right? So it should be 1 plus 1. So in this case, from this, we have 2 by 2 as equal to 1. So this limit should be equal to 1. Let's try to do exactly similar question, not same, the similar question where you have limit x tends to 0, 0 to x square cos of t square dt divided by x sin x. So the only thing that we need to observe in this is that the limit or the integration is in t. So this is actually, you can take this out as x sin x because we are integrating with respect to t. So cos of t square dt, and we can write on one step in the terms of the numerator and denominator so that it becomes easier for us to apply the Leibniz rule or the L'Hopital rule. Cos of t square dt. Now this is the numerator, x sin x, this is the denominator. Now this is 0 by 0 form, and this has become exactly the same question as the previous one. So here you can differentiate this, and limit x tends to 0. Again, this is 2x, and this becomes cos of x raised to the power 4. This is constant, so this becomes 0. And again, this is sin x plus you have this as x cos x. Again, you can divide by x, right? Then you can again divide by x, so it will be 2 upon, this will be 1 when you divide by x, and this becomes 1 again. So 2 by 2, which is equal to 1. So both of you are correct in this. There is an important thing to remember in the Leibniz rule, right? The details we'll discuss sometimes later, that the Leibniz rule is basically, if you try to see the function, it is f of x equals, let us say it is gx, and this is h of x, and now this function was phi of t dt. So just to make it a note that we are applying the formula of the Leibniz rule that we have been applying so far is when this is function of t only, right? If there is any variable involved apart from t which we cannot separate, right? In this particular question, we have separated x and sin x and we have taken out of the integration, but sometimes it may happen that you cannot take it out of the integration. For example, that f of x is equal to, there is some limit, and you have been given a function, let's say sine of t by x dt, right? So in this case, you cannot apply this formula straight away, right? Because now this is not the function, because see the derivation that we had done, right? In the derivation, we had clearly seen that this was function of t only. Then we derived the formula that we are using. So now in this case, you cannot take out x outside the integration, right? The x cannot be taken outside. So now this becomes function of both t and x. So in this case, we'll not use the formula that we have used, right? We just have to keep this thing in mind. Now, whenever you are encountered this kind of situation, try to take x outside, right? There will be possibilities where, see, here in this case, we can take it directly outside. But in other cases, by applying some properties of the limits of the definite integration, when we'll cover that part. So by applying some properties, this x can be separated and taken outside, right? That will be happening in all the cases till now, right? There is of course another formulas or general formulas for the Leibniz rule, but at this stage we do not require that, right? Whenever you will be given a function which will be function of both, you can simply use the properties and take it outside. But for now, that will not be required. That will say in the integration part, right? So just to make you understand or to remind you that we cannot use the formula straight away in these kind of situations. We need to have just the function of t only to apply the formula that we have used. तो देखो इसमें हमने देखा है कि लेब्निज रूल में ऐसा नहीं कि हम डायरेक्टली चीजें ऐसा कर रहे हैं, है ना? कहाँ पे अप्लाई करना है, कहाँ पे नहीं अप्लाई करना है. एक्चुअली आपके पास एक जनरल लेब्निज रूल भी होता है, हम कभी डिस्कस करेंगे आगे वो, वो चीज में हम डिस्कस करेंगे, लेकिन 99.9% केसेस में आपका यही रूल काम आने वाला है, ठीक है। तो यार हमको ये भी पता होना चाहिए कि कब अप्लाई करना है, कहाँ पे इसके रेस्ट्रिक्शंस हैं। ऐसा नहीं कहीं भी हमको दिखाई दे जाए एक्स का भी फंक्शन और टी का भी फंक्शन हो तो उसको हम एकदम फेल दें उसको रूल को, है ना। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, हमें सारी चीजें पता होनी चाहिए उसके बारे में, ठीक है। और क्वेश्चंस आ भी चुके हैं आईआईटी में जो कि ये चीज को कंसिडर करते हैं कि आपको ये बेसिक कंसेप्ट आता है या नहीं आता है, ठीक है। सो इफ यू ट्राई टू डू विद द वेरी बेसिक्स, मैं बार बार ये चीजें कहता हूँ कि अगर बेसिक्स पे ही फॉलो करोगे, फोकस करोगे, तो बहुत ही ज्यादा अच्छी तरह से आप क्वेश्चन को अटेम्प्ट कर सकते हो और कम से कम टाइम में, कम से कम जो सबसे छोटा मेथड है उस पे आप जाके सॉल्व कर सकते हो क्वेश्चन को, ठीक है। So we'll try to see the remaining part of the rule that is in general, that is regarding the rare cases, but we'll see that sometimes in the future. So we'll meet up again in the next class with some more concepts. So till then, all of you, bye bye and take care.